Flash is a sweeping effort, ambitious effort from director Andy Muschietti. It stars, as you know, the controversial Ezra Miller, also co-starring Sasha Calle as Supergirl, Michael Keaton as Batman, and Ben Affleck as Batman, and other people as well. Now we're going to heavy spoil this movie in my review. Let me tell you what the movie is about. Barry Allen is in torment. He finds himself kind of as at the bottom rung of the Justice League, cleaning up after everybody, not being necessarily the first call, but the last call. And also, too, he's trying to fight for the release of his father, who is accused of murdering his wife, Barry Allen's mother, Nora Allen. That's at the beginning, that's what we're opened with. And it just doesn't look like they have the evidence to vindicate him. What Barry does well is that he is kind of a nervous wreck, and he starts obsessing on this idea where, because one night he accidentally ran so fast because he had so much anger and angst about the situation that he saw that he skipped time, that he time traveled. So he was thinking, well, why can't I travel back? And why can't I save my mother? What would you do if you had the power and the ability to save a loved one? At what lengths would you go? Here, if you were a son or a daughter and lost your mother, but knew you had this certain power that is unequal, yes, a meta human, that you could do something about it. Theoretically, you could do something about it. Would you not try with other time traveling movies and other good at heart, well-meaning pursuits? It goes very bad. The universe he finds himself in when he's trying to go back is a universe where there's already a different Barry Allen, with long hair. He's a little younger as well. He's 18, about to get his powers, whereas, the Flash is, I would say, in this iteration, mid to late 20s. In regards to the Justice League and the Snyderverse, we are at that time of around when General Zod comes down to Earth. And so Barry's piecing everything together as much as he can, because he, in this universe, he can't find Superman. There is no Cyborg, there is no Wonder Woman. So he's like, how am I going to put together a group to help me fight General Zod? Because there's a couple things that he's trying to accomplish. One, like we said, is that primary conflict, the primary goal of trying to save his mom. But also, two, his other Barry has not gotten his powers yet to guide him there, which is really interesting. I have to tell you, and I said this in my non-spoiler review, this performance by the controversial Miller is the best thing about this movie, because he's playing two iterations of himself, not just in one or two scenes, but a majority of this film. And it's done really well. There is Batman. Batman does exist, and he goes to hunt down Batman. But when they go to Wayne Manor, the two Barrys, they find that it's an old scraggly man that's Bruce Wayne. And in fact, it is Michael Keaton's Batman. And he at first says, there's no way I'm going to help you guys. No thanks. Bye-bye. He feeds them. There is a scene where they use the cinematic a device of food to explain the multiverse, which I thought was cute. Take two strands of spaghetti, not cooked yet, and you run them along. And he's like, we think that if we go back in time, at this point, they split, but before it, we're good. Whereas it's not like that. It's like this. And there's a flash point to where, all different, iterations can intersect, but they are completely different once you mess with time. So that's what kind of Keaton and the two Barrys come up with. I do want to say at this time, the younger Barry does in fact get his powers. And then they have to go to the time and place where Barry did get his powers, and it happens. But what does happen, unfortunately, is that our Barry loses his powers with a lightning strike because he gets struck as well by accident. So it's kind of interesting that there is a good portion of this where he doesn't have his powers. So he's kind of just relying on the new Barry and then now Batman to help him out. He still can't figure out why there is no Superman when there's General Zod. And then the whole thing of different iterations makes sense. He does track down that there is um an alien that landed so many years ago and was confined to a Russian bunker. And what they think is, let's go save Superman. Well, it's a girl and she is horribly emaciated. They don't know who she is. This is not Superman. This is, we failed. Da 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 da. Barry is like the first Barry with no powers. We still got to save her. We still got to bring her with us. So he grabs her, picks her up. They come on out, brings her into the light. What do you know? She starts becoming this healthy, fully formed person because of the sun's rays. And yes, what I think is one of the better moments in the movie is her entrance into Supergirl. It's a great kick ass. She literally just uh, finds that strength from the sun and helps beat up these Russian guys. It was fantastic. We go back to Wayne Manor and they're trying to figure out what to do with General Zod. And Supergirl doesn't like humans. She doesn't want to help them because her whole entire life she's been tortured, enslaved, and imprisoned by humans. But she's like curious as to why Barry helped her. And he's like, that's the right thing to do. She takes off. Well, Barry then says, you know what? I have to get my powers back. So they concoct a way to get Barry's powers back. And what do you know? He's back. And they have to find a way to take Zod down. Supergirl has a moment, then she comes back and joins the crew, and we have a Justice League somewhat. Point in time, let's go back to Man of Steel, where General Zod comes down and talks to the Marines. That point in time in the desert, if you remember, that is where we lay our scene now, where there's this huge fight. Again, a highlight for me were these battles. Very well done. This is where the CGI for me was the best. You had the two different flashes, battling the Kryptonian, soldiers, while Supergirl and Batman go after, Zod. It's a big spoiler, guys, coming up. Batman dies. Supergirl dies. Both Barrys are like, what is going on? We're not going to win. Zod is winning. He's killing us. So what do? They go back in time and they restart the battle. So yeah, Batman is saved for a minute, but guess what? He gets killed again in a different way. And they keep repeating this to where our Barry realizes this iteration, this world, this universe, Zod wins and Earth is terraformed. And it's a really interesting plot twist because that means this world's Barry's mom, everyone is going to die. The younger Barry doesn't want to hear it. The younger Barry thinks that he can keep on going back in time, back in time, back in time to figure it out. Let's go back to the first time Barry skips time. And I want to explain this to you because this is where you're going to get a lot of Member Barry cameos. When he's skipping time, it's almost a stadium seating open amphitheater to where he's in the middle. It's almost like a gladiator in the round area. And with each level, it's a universe that goes back in time, back in time, back in time. It's all CGI. Some of it's good, some of it's kind of weird. The first time he's in that I would say vortex, there's an entity, a power, this dark being that just smacks the shit out of him. And you're like, who is that guy? We don't see him till well almost towards the end of the film, fighting with the younger Barry to stop it. Stop trying to save your world. It's not going to happen. Well, this dark entity comes back. And you know who it is? It's a third Barry. It's a third Flash. It is young Flash, just aged and aged and aged, crusted, dark, full of so many battle wounds. He's unrecognizable. It's really good. But what he's doing is he is messing with this time universe so much that different worlds are starting to collide into each other. And here is where you get your amazing cameos. What Andy Muschietti does, he lets us go into these different worlds for a brief time. And yes, there is the Christopher Reeves Superman world. All CGI, right? There is the George Reeves 1950s Superman world. That was pretty neat. You got to see the Flash with the hat. Then there is an extended scene of Nick Cage's Superman. And let me have to tell you, that was probably, as far as the action scenes, top three satisfying for me in this film. That was so well done. That was so dope. And it was such a nod to Tim Burton and to Nick Cage. I loved it. That world dies. We come back to Barry in present time, but things are a little different. Barry figured out how to save his dad. There was video footage of his dad going to get a can of tomatoes, which was and in the video footage enhanced by Bruce Wayne, Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne, he never lifts his head up, so we can never identify him. Well, Barry figures out that's because the tomato cans are on the bottom row, and he puts them on the top row to where he has to look up to grab. And there, the father's released. He's vindicated. All is well in this universe. Bruce Wayne's texting him, and this is the very end of the film. Bruce Wayne pulls up outside of the courtyard, and who pops out? George Clooney. George Clooney's iteration of Bruce Wayne pops out. There's a post-credit scene that features Barry and Aquaman. Barry's explaining what has happened to him the last, with the film, like, explaining to Aquaman what has happened to, the different universes. And he says one interesting thing where he says, "In every universe I traveled, you were always the same," which I thought was interesting. It's ambitious. There's some fantastic, brilliant moments of action. As I said, what I like the most, I also love the mother. There's some very, very touching scenes with the mother, played by Maribel Verdú, and that really was the heart of the movie. That being said, it is a disjointed mess. And I think it's because, there were so many, I guess, reshoots and redone and rewrites. You can tell. If you're a fan of Snyderverse, if you're a fan of these characters, you definitely should go check it out. You're gonna have some fun with some of the scenes. I think you would have had a better movie if you cut out those cameos. The Sasha Calle, the Supergirl, the Batman. Other than what you saw in the trailers, there's not that much more that they're in. I was surprised. I thought there was gonna be a lot more of them. And when I say a lot more of them, yeah, I got a lot of them in action kicking ass, but I'm talking about as far as uh, you know, scenes with dialogue. Keaton, they kind of took advantage of the fact that he's Batman, and we're gonna love him automatically. We don't need to explain, but that being said, yeah, it was great. It was cool, but I'd seen it before, even with the music and the sound and the feelings and the feels. So I would give this film ultimately a 6.5 out of 10. It's good, not great. It's no agendas, give them that. There were some kick-ass moments. There's some really beautiful moments, but just a overall a storytelling mess. So that is my Flash spoiler review. What was the end stinger? The end stinger was Clooney before the credits rolled, and then the credits rolled, and then there was the Aquaman scene, which I couldn't stand. I couldn't stand both of them. Both of them I did not like. That's just me. The Clooney was just, and then the bumbling around scene where Aquaman's drunk and they're walking out of a bar and Barry's explaining what's up. You know, the
Uh,
lead seems to believe the research hurt the film, or did the issues occur before that? No, reshoots. The issues, if it hurt the film, they would have shelved it. But his performance is that good. What they did was that they delayed it because of those issues of controversial and just all that, because they probably just believed that much in Ezra's performance. I've said this on A Midnight's Edge is that look, as long as Ezra stays out of trouble between now and the opening, they're not going to get rid of this movie. And I said that over a year ago, right? When the last of the goofiness was going on. He's been quiet. And they've done a great job of marketing this film away from Ezra and marketed on the member berries of Michael Keaton, right? And then showing off some of the better scenes. So I think that's how they were able to save it. Is Clooney with Affleck? Is Clooney the James Gunn Batman? Clooney is Affleck. In this universe, at the beginning, it's Affleck. When Barry comes back, it's Clooney. And the only way they kind of explain that is that you mess with time, even though you've kind of course corrected, there's still going to be some differences because you messed with time.